Welcome back to Bronze League Heroes in the bottom right. It is from the Tane clan, Monocle, and in the top left, the championship-winning Macro Terran player from Wings of Liberty, playing Protoss from a random clan. It is Bomber. I'm sure 100% this is the real Bomber. I have no reason to believe otherwise. Let's see what he comes up with. Monocle decided he was going to... Okay, the probe had a little bit of indecision as to where it's going. But it's finally figured out what to do with its life. It will now scout the opponent's base, where another probe will be tasked with patrolling and making sure the area is scoped out and ready for expanding. And Monocle not taking any chances on this. Meanwhile, Bomber with a 2-gate opener. A whole lot of shift queuing and boom, slapping it down after 1 or 2 recon sweeps. Monocle gets himself a Nexus. Cyber Core as well. That's something that Bomber cannot brag about quite yet. He's chrono boosting his probes. He has quite an interesting rally point. That's, well, see, that's pro gamer rally point right there. Get the Cyber Core. You should be able to just queue up the Cyber Core. In fact, this should be a turn-based game. Dozens of bronze players cry out and say, wait, it isn't? You got him. Meanwhile, a pylon on the other side of the map, which is essentially the standard macro play in Protoss versus Protoss. A probe makes it into the main. It will stand by, observing. Day 3. They still do not know I am not one of them. I look like them. I smell like them. I talk like them. I build pylons like them. But, wait. Guys. Belay that recall. We're chrono boosting, says Monocle. The probe left behind to fend for itself. Meanwhile, a proxy gate on the other side, looking like a straight-up 4-gate build so far. I'm waiting. I want to see what Monocle's probe ends up doing. Chrono boost on warp gate. So Bomber has hard-walled off his natural base. He likes to have everything quarantined here, which means the probes can't transfer in the normal method of walking or gliding there, I guess. But we'll have to see what he comes up with. Neither player, we still have no units lost. A pacifist game thus far, despite the Stalkers. The probe, come on. A recall, wait, what? He recalls his probes to the natural because, of course, that's what he was going to do. And, oh, Monocle, I see. You must construct additional pylons. No, give back! God! Give me your badge and your key. Meanwhile, this is a Twilight Council as well. At the front, the Stalkers going to work on a pylon. Meanwhile, a single Zealot is warping into the mineral line, creating a very awkward scenario because everything's kind of walled off. And half a year later, the Zealot will complete. And now a Stalker. The probes are under assault, but a recall comes out, and Bomber will fight the Stalker Micro. Probes off the line. Oh, another Stalker goes down for Monocle. Meanwhile, the Zealot slaughtering the probes in the main. There's no way to get into the main without warping in. Meanwhile, on the other side, there are 3 Stalkers and a Sentry. 2 Stalkers at the front. Probes in the main are dying to 2 units, but the Nexus is under attack. The probes will retreat, showing the value of not walling off your second base. There's charge on the way at the Proxy Twilight Council. Meanwhile, all of the probes of Bomber are being slaughtered. A Warpin in kind of a weird position. Oh, a pylon was rebuilt, repowering the shield battery, but unfortunately that Stalker is in range of the shield battery. This one should be. Meanwhile, this is happening on the other side. Monocle has 200 actions per minute, which is very impressive for someone with 25 actions a minute. Meanwhile, Bomber at a more comfortable pace. There is a Zealot in the main. Meanwhile, a bunch of Stalkers up into the main. Charge is done. The one Zealot leads that charge. The backing off. Immortal barrier triggered. Half the Stalkers are having a tough time of it. The Immortal... Wait, where did that Zealot come from? It's unclear. There's some micro happening. It looks like Bomber's gonna win this fight, but the probes are gonna get involved on both sides. Meanwhile, one Zealot going to work. The pylon in the main. More probes are dying. It's an all-out clusterfuck right now. The probes are just kind of chilling there. There's a Zealot from Bomber. Still 2 Stalkers at the back. The probes are trying to get back to the mineral line. Oh my god! The Zealot dodging, ducking, dipping, and weaving, and diving, and now the probes were attacking their own cyber core for a second. The Zealot is walled off. More Stalkers worked in. A lot of probes gonna go down. Zealot going through. It will actually, Mr. Protoss, tear down this wall, says Monocle. He clears up everything in his main. He's going to eventually... Wait, he's depowered the cyber core, which doesn't mean anything. Oh, there's more Zealots in the main. The Zealots... Oh no, it's not a super pylon. Those Stalkers taking the less than express route to be warped in. But the probes have already handled the rest. Monocle has 19 probes left. Bomber has 27, so great macro there somehow. Meanwhile, the Stalkers kind of tripping over one another. Another Immortal comes out. The Zealot still going to work. And Monocle, macro-oriented, will re-expand. The supplies somehow even. This Zealot has a real problem with warp gates. Ever since he was warped in, he's hated warp gates. It's not a very comfortable process. Meanwhile, the Zealot finally finds inspiration. We'll go to the low ground, but the probes fight back! The citizens arrest! Sir, we don't like your kind around here. This is a peaceful environment for probes only. And he surrounds and kills the only counterattack option, but another Zealot into the main. Bomber is, I think, a select all army hotkey came through. Oh, but the target fire from Monocle slaughtering probes. For how few probes have been built, so many have been killed. 25 by Monocle, 18 by Bomber. The charge lots continuing to be warped in at the proxy base. There are some units from Monocle, not... Oh no! Probius! Finally slaughtered! A pylon in the back of the main taken out. This entire setup has been completely unscouted. And are we going into another trickle-down base trade? It's like falling down the stairs. It doesn't start dramatically, but by the end, it's, well, there's going to be a lot of damage. The Immortals going to work. Stalkers slaughtered. But the charge lots will take their revenge. The probes are exposed. But Bomber, he's got a lot of Zealots. He's going for the probe line. Monocle ain't got nothing. He's warping in 2 Stalkers. The probes try to escape. But they didn't find the way out. The second base from Monocle will be taken out. A Warp Prism getting involved as well. I'm not sure if it's going to be part of this. Meanwhile, in the main, a single 2 Stalkers. Okay! So the technical way to win a game of StarCraft is by killing all of your opponent's buildings. And all of Monocle's buildings are in this base for now. It's not necessarily going to continue. Even the probe getting in the fight. The probe ready to kill its brothers. But a recall! Units back to the front, or wait, back to the back. What back to the Nexus, one way or another. But the Immortals and Stalkers, will they be enough to hold the line? Monocle's down to 2 probes. Bomber is cutting through. It looks like just barely. He's rebuilding. He's down to 1 probe. The probe escaped by being at the natural. But Bomber still has 17, which is many times more probes than his opponent. And Bomber, of course, is going to expand to the, yeah, right there. One last attack from Monocle. Because the next time there's a counterattack, there will be no home to go back to. Oh, the Stalkers move command, but an Immortal getting involved. Some Zealots were warped in. They're joining the fray. Bomber understands these counterattacks have been very successful thus far. The probes are long-distance mining, which is an option. A Cyber Core being the... Wait, what? He already had... Okay, he's going to build another Cyber Core. You never know when you're going to need it. Wait. Monocle finds the work. Oh, there's a sentry who's got a force field. The ideal was there. The execution. Eh. But the probes are fighting. Probes, not the greatest fighting units. Monocle is... He's got to run the probes. Oh, probes fighting on both sides. He's going to warp in some sentries. 0 probes to 9. Monocle is out of probes, and he doesn't have the minerals to build anymore. A recall of the refugee probes from Bomber might seal his victory. The unit count is now 10 charge lots up against an Immortal, 3 Stalkers, and 2 Zealots. And I'm hard-pressed to see Monocle dragging himself out of this. There's no more probes. There's no more money for probes. These are all of the buildings. The charge lots are microing such as it is. The rest of the party gets here. The Zealots, the Stalker's microing back, has not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. Well, the Immortal can, like, if the Zealots are distracted, but the Immortal stands alone. And that Immortal has all the hopes and dreams. Well played, man. Bomber with a very technical offensive GG. But Monocle, GGWP. The gentleman in one of the most action-packed games I've ever seen. And one of the most wholesome. Bomber returns from his career as a Terran player to be quite a creative Protoss. Yes, obviously the real Bomber, but if you enjoyed that, the base trade from the inside out, well, now you can subscribe and comment, and it does matter, actually. YouTube loves that because at the end of the day, it sells ads. But if that's the price, then hopefully you're willing to pay it for more amazing games like this in Bronze League Heroes.